Hey guys, this is Sarah from Natural Peace Living and naturalpeaceliving.com. We are here today doing a video about the Empress card in the tarot. This is my fourth video in the series, all going through the major arcana cards that come up in the tarot deck. We're going to pull, I have cards pulled from 4 different tarot decks, so you can kind of get a feel for what's going on with each one of these cards. We're going to discuss the Empress today. The Empress is an awesome card, really powerful, very feminine type of card. And we just did a video last week about the High Priestess card. Both awesome, powerful women, but very different meanings in these cards. So today we're going to talk about the Empress, like I said. And the first deck we're going to start with is the Rider-Waite Tarot. So the Rider-Waite Tarot deck is a very well-known tarot deck, a really awesome deck, kind of sets the standard for people learning tarot. There's a lot of symbolism in these cards, so we'll discuss some of that and then see a couple different decks and some of the symbolism that each of these artists brought into it. So the Empress is all about femininity. Different than the femininity that comes from the High Priestess. The Empress is the nurturer. She's the mommy. She is the caretaker in the tarot. She is like a really awesome, powerful homemaker and nurturer. Like I said, she wants to make sure everybody is okay. She's just very feminine. In a lot of depictions of the Empress, she is pregnant. Because she speaks to the femininity cause and like the idea of fertility and what we're giving birth to. So she's a mommy, but she could be a mommy in different aspects. Just because she comes into a reading doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, she's somebody who has kids. It means that she is a nurturer. So we're actually going to pull really quick a description of the Empress card that came out of a tarot card calendar that I pulled a few years ago. And there's a little excerpt that comes with each major arcana card and kind of gives the idea of like these cards being the major arcanas are life lessons, and each one, when we go through it, we have to understand the lesson before we move on into the next card. So the Empress card, this little excerpt is going to be from the viewpoint of the Fool, who is the one that starts out the major arcana. And the Fool goes through each experience and has the experience that he has. So we're going to read this Empress excerpt from the viewpoint of being the Fool. It says, feeling hungry and homesick, the Fool followed a trail of flowers to an alcove by the edge of a lake. In a field sat a gorgeous woman in a luxurious throne wearing a crown of stars. She was kind, and she gave him fruit, milk, and honey. She let him sleep in her chair and sang songs that made flowers bloom and the air sparkle. Then she packed him a huge lunch and sent him on his way. So, like we said just a minute ago, the Empress card is all about nurturing and caretaking, and whether you are a mom or not a mom or whatever it happens to be, it's all about just like caring for others and how can I help you, and creation almost too. I'm going to show you guys another version of this card. So we have the Empress from the Everyday Tarot deck by Bridget Esselmont. This is a really awesome deck too, and this is another illustration that has the Empress shown as a pregnant woman. So we're going to talk about what this means like in regards to the creation aspect. Several years ago, I was doing a reading for a gentleman in a coffee shop, and he was a musician, and he came in and he had the Empress in his reading. And I asked him, you know, if his reading made sense to him, and she said it did. But from where I was standing, the Empress for him was more along the lines of what he was creating. He was a singer-songwriter and a musician, and the Empress card for him was about what he was creating. That he is a very intuitive person creating these beautiful songs and lyrics and things along those lines. So whenever I see the Empress card too, it's going to ask like, what are you creating? What are you giving birth to? Where is your fertility? Where is your creativity? So so many times we see the Empress as pregnant. You have to ask yourself, what is the baby that you're pregnant with? What is it that you are giving life to? Are you giving life to a new project? Are you giving life to an actual baby? Are you giving life to something that you want to create in your life? And like I said, a new project, or something that you want to do at home, or a book, or something along those lines. What is it that you're trying to give life to? Um, the next Empress card is coming out of the Dreaming Way Tarot. So this card again shows the Empress with her crown on, and in her pretty little plaid dress here. I just love this depiction of her. And she also is pregnant. So this, again, we're seeing so much of the creativity behind this card. And a few years ago, along the same time that I was doing the reading for the other gentleman, I kept pulling the Empress card. And it came up for me while I was starting my practice, when I built my business as Natural Peace Living. I was doing a lot of work with the Chamber of Commerce in the Adirondack Mountains where I live. I was starting all these classes. I was doing all this wonderful stuff that just, like, to me, the Empress was like, okay, well, you're in creative mode. You're making something. You've given life to this new practice and this new business. So that's what it was speaking to. And then, a friend of mine at the time was like, are you sure it's not something else? You're not pregnant, are you? Are you sure you're not pregnant? I said, no, I'm not pregnant. I'm giving life to the business. I'm doing all of these sort of things. And then turns out a couple weeks later, I did find out that I was actually pregnant. So it speaks to all kinds of levels. It speaks to, what are you birthing? Where are you in your pregnancy? How are you nurturing your life? How are you nurturing whatever it is that you've given birth to, whether it's like actual babies, or something that you've created, a project that you've created, or something along those lines. So then the last card that we're going to pull the Empress out of is the Shadowscapes Tarot. So this deck, I'll tell you, a few years ago, I actually have this image. The same calendar that I read the excerpt out of featured this Empress card as the card for January, I believe, in 2018. And I absolutely love the illustration. So when the month passed, I cut the card out, the illustration of the card, and hung it up in my bedroom. And then a few months later, my daughter and I were looking at tarot decks, and I was like, I really want to get a new deck. I just don't know which one to get. It can be an overwhelming choice. And I'm standing there and I'm thinking, oh my God, I remember that Empress card out of the Shadowscapes deck. I wonder if they have it. And sure enough, right in front of me was the Shadowscapes Tarot. So I ended up purchasing it based off of my remembering of the Empress card. So this card, this one is very different than the other Empress cards that we've looked at, where almost all of them showed the pregnant lady. This one is showing a totally different kind of viewpoint of creation and fertility. So in this card, she has the laurel wreath down below in her hand, and then she's kind of motioning upwards towards the butterflies. So the butterflies are symbolic of transformation and transitioning into something new. Your butterfly doesn't start out as a butterfly, it starts out as a caterpillar, and then the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and then emerges as a butterfly. And the symbolism in the circle of the butterfly. And then also seeing the wreath down below, which also is another symbol of fertility and creation and infinity. There's no beginning, there's no end. So we are giving birth to something that there is no end, whether it's the project that we're giving birth to, or the actual child that we're giving birth to, or the child that's already been born 8 years ago, or whatever it happens to be, or somebody's mother, or somebody's parents, or somebody as a mother. It's never ending. It's not something that's just going to go away. You are always going to be the mother or the parent of whatever it happens to be, a baby, a grown adult, or a project. So when we think about the Empress too, we can think about, you gave birth to this, or you're giving birth to this, you're creating something. And then whatever it is that you've created will also create. So, you know, if it's a project, if you're working on something, like for me, it's this stuff now. I've been doing these videos. I absolutely love it. I've been diving into my own tarot deck that I'm illustrating. There's creation happening here. And as I continue to create, it will continue to create upon that. So you can ask yourself, you know, okay, gave birth to a new business. Well, what is the business going to do? And it's going to continue to expand and it's going to continue to grow. And you keep putting new life into it. Your children, if you're looking at your children from an Empress standpoint as a mommy, you know, they're always going to be your children, and you're always going to learn how to mother them better or to mother them some more. You know, whatever it is that they're going to need, and how you can be a better mom, and learning from your children, and how your children are going to learn from you, and then go forth and have their own children. So the Empress is really a wonderful card, all about our creation, all about our nurturing, all about what we give to the world, how we nurture the world, and what we're putting out there. So really awesome card, very powerful card, very lovey and feminine type of card. A great card for this week for Valentine's Day coming up. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me. You can leave comments below. You can find me at naturalpeaceliving.com or on Facebook under Natural Peace Living, and same with Instagram. Thank you so much, guys. This is Sarah. Take care.